Alright, buckle up because we're about to dive into the wild and sometimes downright infuriating world of US politics. Now I know what you're thinking. Why would I want to subject myself to this? Well, let me tell you, understanding this is crucial. It's like knowing how a pie is made, except the pie is democracy, and we're all forced to eat it whether we like it or not. Let's face it, the US political landscape is about as straightforward as a labyrinth designed by MC Escher on a caffeine binge. It's a system where words like bipartisanship are thrown around more often than a football at a game, yet actual cooperation seems rarer than a politician admitting they were wrong. But here's the kicker. This affects every aspect of our lives, from the air we breathe to the memes we share. Understanding this landscape isn't just for the political or masochists. It's for anyone who's ever looked at their paycheck and wondered, where the hell is all this money going? Or for those who've watched a debate and felt like they needed a translator despite everyone supposedly speaking English. So why bother navigating this labyrinth of lunacy? Because knowledge is power, and in a system that sometimes feels designed to make us feel powerless, understanding the rules of the game is our best defense. Plus, let's face it, once you start unraveling this political yarn ball, it's oddly addictive. So, grab your compass, your sense of humor. We're about to embark on a journey through the heart of American democracy. Bipartisanship, that mythical creature of American politics, as elusive as Bigfoot, but with better PR. In theory, it's a beautiful concept. Two parties, often at odds, coming together for the greater good. It's like Romeo and Juliet, if the Montagues and Capulets were obsessed with tax policy and filibuster rules. But in practice? Well, let's just say it's more West Side Story with less singing and more shouting. The idea behind bipartisanship is simple. Democrats and Republicans work together to create policies that benefit everyone. It's supposed to be a safeguard against extremism, ensuring that laws reflect a broad consensus rather than the whims of a single party. In an ideal world, it would lead to thoughtful debate, compromise, and solutions that address complex issues from multiple angles. But we don't live in an ideal world. We live in a world where agreeing with the other side is often seen as a betrayal worse than putting pineapple on pizza. This brings us to the ugly stepchild of bipartisanship: polarization. As the two parties have drifted further apart ideologically, finding common ground has become about as easy as nailing jelly to a wall. What was once a spectrum of political beliefs has become a canyon, with each side viewing the other as not just wrong, but morally bankrupt. It's like watching two sports teams, except instead of a trophy, they're fighting over the direction of the country. And we, the citizens, are stuck in the middle, wondering if we can just change the channel. Federalism, the political equivalent of a layer cake. If that cake were made of bureaucracy, sprinkled with confusion, and frosted with occasional bouts of finger-pointing. At its core, federalism is the idea that power should be divided between a central government and smaller regional governments. It's like a family road trip where dad thinks he's in charge, but mom's the one with the map, and the kids in the back seat keep changing the destination. In the US, this means we have not one, not two, but three levels of government all vying for attention: federal, state, and local. It's like a governmental Russian nesting doll, each layer with its own set of powers, responsibilities, and ability to royally mess things up. The federal government handles big-ticket items like national defense and printing money, which, let's be honest, sometimes feels like they're doing with gleeful abandon. States get to tackle issues like education and law enforcement, while local governments are left dealing with thrilling matters such as garbage collection and parking regulations. Now you might be thinking, this sounds like a recipe for chaos, and you'd be right, but it's chaos with a purpose. The idea is that different levels of government can respond to different needs. It's why you can buy fireworks in one state and risk jail time for possession in another. It's also why, during a crisis, you might hear from your mayor, governor, and the president, all giving slightly different advice. It's like a game of telephone, but with real consequences. But here's where it gets really fun. These different levels of government don't always play nice. Sometimes it's like watching a dysfunctional family at Thanksgiving dinner. Interest groups, the hidden hands of influence. Alright, it's time to talk about the puppet masters of American politics: interest groups. These are the organizations that make it their business to influence policy, and boy do they take their business seriously. Think of them as the lobbyists, activists, and professional naggers who have turned bothering politicians into an art form. They're like that friend who always has an opinion on where to go for dinner, except instead of choosing between Thai and Italian, they're deciding the fate of healthcare reform. Interest groups come in all shapes and sizes, from massive corporations to small, grassroots organizations. They represent everyone from big oil companies to environmental activists, from gun rights advocates to anti-gun campaigners. It's like a political zoo, where every animal is trying to convince the zookeeper that their habitat should be bigger and better furnished. And just like at a zoo, some animals are louder and more attention-grabbing than others, especially the ones with the deepest pockets. Now, in theory, interest groups are a vital part of democracy. They give voice to specific concerns and expertise that might otherwise be overlooked. It's like having a really passionate friend who knows everything about a niche topic. Sure, they might be annoying at parties, but when you need information on that topic, they're invaluable. Interest groups can provide lawmakers with important data, mobilize public opinion, and keep the government accountable. They're the squeaky wheels that sometimes do get the grease. Media's role shaping public opinion. Let's talk about the media, that ever-present, often maligned force that shapes our understanding of the world faster than you can say breaking news. In the realm of politics, the media isn't just a messenger. It's more like that friend who can't help but add their own spicy take to every bit of gossip they pass along. And in today's 24/7 news cycle, that gossip is flowing faster than wine at a Real Housewives reunion. Traditional media, newspapers, TV news, and radio have long been the primary sources of political information for most Americans. They're like the old guard of information, the town criers of the modern age, if town criers wore expensive suits and had really good hair. These outlets are supposed to be our watchdogs, keeping an eye on those in power and informing the public about important issues. In theory, they're the fourth estate, a crucial check on government power. In practice, well, let's just say results may vary. But wait, there's more. Enter social media, the hyperactive younger sibling of traditional media. Platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok have revolutionized how we consume and share political information. It's like giving everyone a megaphone and telling them to shout their opinions as loudly as possible. On one hand, this has democratized information, allowing marginalized voices to be heard and grassroots movements to flourish. On the other hand, it's also given us an endless stream of cat videos and conspiracy theories, often in the same feed. The challenge of polarization. We're about to dive into the world of political polarization, a phenomenon that's about as fun as a root canal performed by an amateur juggler. Polarization is the political equivalent of that one couple you know who can't agree on anything, except instead of arguing over what to watch on Netflix, they're fighting over the future of the country. And just like that couple, the constant bickering is starting to wear on everyone around them. At its core, polarization is the increasing ideological gap between political parties. It's like the two sides are playing tug of war, but instead of trying to win, they're just seeing how far apart they can get before the rope snaps. This divide isn't just about policy disagreements anymore. It's become a fundamental difference in worldviews, values, and what people believe America should be. It's as if Democrats and Republicans aren't just on different pages, they're reading entirely different books, in different languages, on different planets. This polarization leads to a political gridlock that would make Los Angeles traffic look like a smooth-flowing river. Bills get stuck in Congress, nominations languish, and crucial issues go unaddressed because neither side wants to give an inch. It's like watching two stubborn toddlers refuse to share a toy, except the toy is the functioning of our democracy. And the toddlers are grown adults who should really know better. This stalemate doesn't just frustrate voters, it erodes faith in the entire political system faster than a Twitter thread can spiral into chaos. Misinformation, a threat to democracy. Welcome to the wild and wacky world of misinformation, where facts are optional, truth is subjective, and your aunt's Facebook posts are apparently more reliable than peer-reviewed studies. In today's political landscape, misinformation spreads faster than a rumor in a high school cafeteria, and it's about as accurate. It's like playing a game of telephone, except everyone's deliberately changing the message and insisting their version is the original. Misinformation in politics isn't new. Heck, the ancient Romans probably had to deal with fake news carved into stone tablets. But what is new is the speed and scale at which false information can spread in our digital age. Thanks to social media, a lie can travel halfway around the world, while the truth is still putting on its shoes. To paraphrase a quote that's ironically often misattributed, it's like we've given every conspiracy theorist and propagandist a megaphone and told them to go wild. The real kicker is how misinformation interacts with our existing biases and the echo chambers we've built for ourselves. We're all susceptible to believing information that confirms what we already think, even if it's about as factual as a $3 bill. This leads to a situation where different groups of people aren't just disagreeing on opinions, but on basic facts. It's hard to have a productive debate about climate change when one side doesn't believe thermometers are real. Thank you for your time, and don't forget to like, comment, and share.